Hello my fellow GameMelters, Valentin here, and I have another amazing game for you. Ever since I was a little tiny GameMelter, I have always been captivated by stories of adventure at sea. I don't know why, but for some reason getting lost with a boat in the middle of a massive volume of water and finding new land has mesmerized me for years. As I grew older, this passion of mine faded away, but it never really disappeared. And the game we're looking at today actually managed to reignite this fire, capturing the thirst for the unknown and putting it in my pocket. The title is Burly Men at Sea. The developer is Brain and the execution is absolutely amazing. There are lots of things I would like to say in this video, so let's get on with it. Graphics and sounds come first, followed shortly by the gameplay. Every once in a while you see a game that looks beautiful, one where you can take a single screenshot out of context and show it to someone, and that would make that someone play the game. However, even more rarely a game comes along where every screenshot looks like a complete scene, something I would happily put as my desktop background and explain to my snob friend that it's material design. Burly Men at Sea is exactly one of those games. The art style uses flat colors and simple shapes to depict objects from the world. There are no complicated shaders or any of that sort. The closest thing I've seen to this actually is Tiny Thief, a game that came out quite a few years ago. Simplicity here is key. There isn't too much going on the screen at any given time. You barely see more than 5 or 6 objects. However, because of the smart choice of colors and shapes, everything fits together very well, making for a pleasant visual experience. The camera in this game is a bit different. It's usually focused on the center of the screen where the main characters are. However, as you drag your finger across the screen to move it, it actually expands, turning the circle of light into an elliptical shape of light and revealing a bigger portion of the world. In the beginning that feels a bit weird, but after a while it becomes the only way you would ever want to see the world, trust me. Sounds and music are up next, and they seem to have spawned from the same magical place where the graphics have. The soundtrack of this game is one of those musical pieces that tell a story by themselves. No matter if you're in a boat or exploring a distant cave, the background music matches the situation and the mood of the game and also reinforces whatever your imagination is coming up with. On top of that, you have the sound effects, and even though most sound effects in most games are made by people, those here sound especially handcrafted. Each sound is unique and recognizable, and I don't know if that's the case, but most of them sound like someone is actually saying the corresponding effect. This is something I can very hardly explain. You just need to experience it for yourself. Now, graphics and sounds are a good thing, but what we're here for is gameplay, the essence of every game and the goal of every game melting. Burly Men at Sea would be best described as a roguelike story-driven point-and-click adventure, or more like a point-and-drag adventure. You play as 3 brothers, Bravebeard, Hastybeard and Steadybeard, who find a mysterious map and decide to take their boat and go on a journey. Sailing off, they encounter all sorts of weird creatures. From giant whales and jellyfish to actual rock giants and even some weird magical seals. Being story-driven, the game is all about making choices, but unlike most other titles, those choices are made by you taking action rather than just selecting a sentence in a dialogue. That particular aspect of the game meant that during my first playthrough, I didn't even realize this game is replayable. The progression feels fluid and natural. Whatever path you take, that is obviously as natural as meeting a horde of mermaids goes. As I mentioned earlier, the main interaction you have in this game is dragging and tapping. You play the role of a storyteller, telling the 3 brothers where to go by either tapping on specific areas of the screen or dragging your fingers across, forcing them to follow. This creates a relaxing atmosphere, further strengthening the feeling that you are in a story, not in a game. Uncovering more pieces of that story happens in the form of small dialogues or monologues that the characters have with either other characters or with each other. Those conversations are all drenched in humor, making me laugh out loud on several occasions. It is that subtle sense of humor which hides between the lines and only reveals itself when you stop looking for it. At some point in the game, the characters become a bit more self-aware and are ready to restart their adventures as they get to one of the many endings. The biggest problem with games like that is that it's a bit hard to review them in detail without spoiling any of the story. So I will just shut my mouth right now, gently slide out of this video and let you enjoy the game on your own. Okay, not right now, I'm gonna give you some information first. If you still haven't got my hints, Burly Men at Sea is definitely a game that you need to play. Developers like this are the ones I want to see the market saturated by, so go ahead and support them as much as you can. The game is currently priced at $4.59, a price that is quite fair given the amazing quality of the product you get. Those of you who constantly moan against the freemium model this is your chance to actually do something about it by supporting a developer who decided to go the other route. That was everything from me for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe. If you didn't, get on a boat and sail off. Tell me about your adventures later. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.